wife, Donna Kirkland. Without her, my spelling and everything else, the computer skills, um, you know. So we're both teachers, retired teachers. Since my dad passed, I happened upon a record, and I've been collecting 45 records for over 10 years now. And it's not just about the records, it's about the entertainers, it's about the people who play music. We visited Charlie's last night with Loose Change for about an hour and a half. And then we went to Chuck's and the band played from 8 o'clock till 1 o'clock in the morning without a break, you know. So fantastic. I love live music. I love dancing. And that's what this is about. You see my contact card, please pick one up because I'm here to share. I want to learn from you, and I'm sure there'll be some mistakes, and believe me, Wikipedia is wrong, right? I mean, they have many, many mistakes on Wikipedia and on the computer. First of all, I want to start with a Louisiana song. And I'm happy we have a guest today, and I'd like to play a little bit of it for you. Please welcome me. Stand up, guys, please. No, it's ordered. I'm sorry. Miss Hazel, just ordered the next thing.
I had the fly swat a lot.
Okay, Mr. Huey Sims and his wife, Miss Hazel, Percy, his son, and one of the first people I interviewed in Nippville Parish because Mr. Huey recorded for KBL on Castle Records way back, and he tells me today that he wrote that song while he was on the South Pacific in the Navy. So
In the middle of the ocean.
in the middle of the ocean.
Wow.
Mr. Huey grew up in the cutoff.
Brewley, I went to Brewley.
Went to Brewley. So good West Baton Rouge history here. His display is in Plaquemine, and it's the last, well, I have a slide for it and some music for it. Other guests today, Mr. Albert T. Bortney from Morrisonville. I've asked him to say a little bit about his slide. Miss Linda came today, Joy Dupree's wife, Hunter, and Tammy, the daughter. I've interviewed some of the people in West Baton Rouge, and like I said, I need help. Miss Jocelyn, I hope she can tell me about Benjamin Gatz. I hope there's an Amy Como person that I can expand this. The whole purpose of this is to learn from you, and if anybody's here from the West Baton Rouge Museum, there's a juke joint, and it's a music museum. But these people deserve the same recognition, okay? There's a partial list here. I'll start with the places. I didn't know where Westover was. I didn't know a little bit about Chamberlain, a few other places. And the whole purpose of this is to represent everybody. Everybody, all genres, all types of music. And in Louisiana, we have our own type of jazz, our own type of swamp pop. We have our own twist to whatever music it is. Country music, we have Zydeco, we have Cajun, country. So the places in West Baton Rouge, and these slides go with Dr. Ewing's dissertation, what these places, right. Castle Oma's not up there. It's an incomplete list, but I'm sure you visited these places before. And there may be some that I left out, One of the oldest venues is, of course, Jack's. And I think I'm correct, it's the Sire family, 1925, is that right?
Yes, and it's still on.
Thank you. And a couple other places, Club Carousel and the Candlelight. 190 was our New Orleans. I mean, that's where all the bands played, and you had to have a union card. And a little artist history here is the Mr. Allen Jr. Kluwat's place that started off as AJ's, and then Mr. Freddie took it over, and then Charles Croson from Blackman with Susie, they moved it. Some other pictures, and the gentleman that shared most of this is a Port Allen graduate, and Mr. Johnny Kuntz, and I'll get to him, but these are some of the venues that, okay, and I'm not sure if the Duprees, if there were music there. All I remember is when you went inside, you had to step on the right place to put the light on in the restroom. That's all I remember. The only thing I remember.
How about pop food?
All right, so of course Billy could tell us a little more about Marley's, and of course there's Floyd's now, and there's a lot of music every Sunday. I mean, my wife and I, we try and go every Sunday we can, and still love to dance, still love music. Okay, so to begin the presentation, I found this picture in the Plaquemine Library. The reason I used the picture is because Dan and Don Lefebvre, the twins from Plaquemine, came to my house and played with Dad. I do not know the rest of the people in this picture, and I hope someone can help me. I look at it and I see a steel guitar, I see a regular guitar, and a piano player. So what type of music, y'all? Big band, country?
Well, Mr. Landon's subsequent band was Alexander's Ragtime Band,
That's what I remember, yeah.
and so I
is
guess
that it?
you would classify
No.
that as ragtime.
Oh, ragtime.
Grandson is still alive.
His grandson's still alive?
Yeah.
I need that contact.
The
maybe.
one, the band on the right, wasn't that the rhythm?
Yeah, these are the rhythm boys on stage. In fact, I walked back here just a minute ago and I saw Mr. Percy's, yeah, right, his fiddle, violin, and that room is very impressive back there.
The fiddle was for Wallace.
Thank you.
Warren.
He's referring to the Centennial Room. It's Brule's version of a little mini museum. There's oral histories in there and some heirlooms y'all can check out.
Okay,
I remember him.
Mr. Kip.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a
Please,
great
I mean,
guitar player.
if you have comments, please, I mean, this is, I'm trying to learn, you know, my family's from West Baton Rouge, I've been here since '76. Ms. Joseph,
They played in some of the first Addis parades every year, Alexander Band played. I think probably this lady up to her husband was in it too.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Does anyone know where these shots were taken? Because I think Paul or someone shared them with me, or was it Billy?
Well, Paul shared them to our
Okay.
I don't know for sure. I do have a picture of, similar to the one on the right, that was taken at the Rainbow.
That's in
Rainbow
Don's
Inn in
Hill.
Pierre Park.
Yeah, Don, oh, yeah, right.
Kip was my great uncle.
Okay,
And the fiddle in the museum, it belonged to his father, Wallace Warren.
okay.
He was also a musician. You see some of the old newspapers with the dances that they used to have with his father playing the fiddle.
So, of course, we'll get to Mr. Walter and, okay, and someone is gonna ask a little bit here. This gentleman is from Port Allen, and I've interviewed all three of these people on this record. This is a Hammy record that my dad recorded in Blackman, Houston Gascon. Gascon's from Addis. And the gentleman on the right, he's a professor of music. This is his first composed record. and he met the lady with Andy Bernard, who wrote Judy in the Skies, the only golden record, I'm told, in Louisiana, Judy in the Skies.
Really?
That's what I'm told. That's what they said on Sunday Journal last week. They interviewed them. So, they came to Blackman, and this is one of my dad's 7 records under his label with Mr. Gaston. And I have it queued. I could play a little bit, but I think it's going to extend our time a little bit. Okay, Mr. Barton, he's here, and I would like, rather than explain some of the things I may leave out about Morrisonville, but I've asked him to come today. I graduated in '72 with Albert, played in the Blackman Band, and of course in his career, he recorded as a very young man with the Notables, and you'll see to the left, it's a group of band directors. So these guys used to come and pick him up, and they go play music, and they recorded music. A guy named Dennis Lee, he's still living. Mr. Hollins was my band director, his band director, Sam Singleton. And all these guys, they played at, debutante balls and things. He recorded also with, these records, by the way, they are in the Iberville Museum, okay? But Albert lives here now, and Miss Sherry, his wife, is here. Would you say a few things about this, Albert, please?
Sure.
If that's okay.
Absolutely, yes, yes.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that I'm honored to be here, and thank you so very much for inviting me. You know, I'm really thrilled because, you know, I'm in the house with a lot of wonderful musicians, you know. But here, like Alan was saying, I've been into the music business for quite a bit, some time, you know, doing my middle high school days, you know, I was very interested in the guitar, playing the guitar and stuff like that a long time ago. But when, in Kirkland High School, of course, you just said we graduated, you know, together. In Kirkland High School, you know, when, you mentioned J.R. Hollins, one of the directors right there, we had a group called the Notables, you know, and they were like band directors from Scotlandville High School, Capitol, you know, like 5 different band directors. And, you know, and they took an interest in me when I guitar playing, and I'm just beginning to like learn how to read music and stuff like that. And you know, what happened was the fact that we got a chance to do some wonderful things, playing in debutante balls, graduations and things of that sort, you know, in my grade school. So that led to one other thing. That led to me leaving out of here, going to Los Angeles and stuff like that, and playing with a lot of people. I played with so many wonderful people. Toured over in Tahiti with Helen Reddy's orchestra. You guys ever heard of Helen Reddy?
Yes.
Okay, you know, and I conducted our groups in Motown and stuff like that. You know, but that's after leaving here.
So,
Let me just make it
Let me stop right here. So, Albert is not only an accomplished musician, he's recorded, he has his own studio. His studio is still in Bruley, on Botany Lane, the Baton property right up here. The YouTube video I'll play, he's doing gospel music now. Okay, so.
On what lane?
Botany,
Botany
right
Lane.
here on Red Hat Lane, right here.
Yeah.
His family
producing.
moved from Morrisonville and bought that strip of land, the old Baton property.
Yeah, the Baton property, yeah. Right.
Okay, so,
So you see, right here, when you see the Barons Unlimited, in between there and doing the school, I was intermingling with those people too. Now, the gentleman right here was telling me that he played with Tabby Thomas quite a bit. Tabby Thomas had a lot to do with this record.
well, he composed the middle record.
Right.
And in the pictures that you see pointing to I didn't have the records. They cost a lot of money, so, a lot of money. So, in fact, I'm gonna show you one that cost $7,000, but Albert is pointing to the record, which I acquired the one on the left, and then I do not have the one in the middle, and he's pointing to it. And of course, The Soul Stirrers of White Castle is his first recording in Morrisonville. The interesting thing about Morrisonville, Billy and I were talking about that on one side of the road was Iberville, another side was West Baton Rouge. So Leona Drive, where he lived, he went to school in Plaquemine, and across the street they went to school in Brooklyn. You know, how that works, you know.
So still doing engineering, my engineering skills, to improve it even more so, you know, in this technological world here with music, and so much has changed since the 80s, since I was out there with people like Marvin Gaye and all those people. But right here, you know, we're gonna like focus on our hometown. I kind of think about this, you know, I say, well, can any good thing come out of, that was the scripture that says, can any good thing come out of Nazareth, or can any good thing come out of Bruley? Yes. You know, that's Baton Rouge Parish. Look at what we have going on here. Look at yourself right here. So I'm just excited about it. And I think it's gonna like lead into some other things. There is a documentary that I'm gonna be involved in with some gentleman out of Nashville. My daughter is trying to get me wrapped up into it. I got a gag order on it right now. It's gonna be a global thing. And I would love to try to insert this situation into it also, you know, I believe it's gonna be a wonderful thing. And, you know, have Rudy on the map even more so.
Let me play a little bit.
You know,
So in my museum, there's QR codes for each record. And of course, in West Baton Rouge, I could put the QR code, but on YouTube is the easiest way to, without the ads.
this is my latest one. It's been doing pretty good. Instrumental? That's the instrumental?
Yes, that's the instrumental. So that's his studio, and hopefully it's gonna come up and play, y'all.
Should be going now.
Turn the volume up, okay? That helps.
Yeah, it's helpful.
Volume on your device.
Okay, so we're gonna get to Miss Amy, but sorry about that, guys.
Gotta get the thing on the far left.
You playing?
Alan, I think it's paused.
Yeah, I was saying, yeah.
Left all the way to the left.
No, it's not.
Alright.
Try it again.
Do it again. It's play now.
Yes,
It's good.
it's playing, but it's not. Yeah, but it's
Do you have the volume there all the way up?
It's all the way up.
That's that going to the next IT guy.
Yeah, we got the IT
Let the
guy. Thank
And
you.
then,
If you have any questions about electronics, get a young person.
Amen.
So, while we're waiting for it, Miss Amy's YouTube came up, and like I said, there are 3 albums and 3 records, and I'm just going in alphabetical order on these people. Okay. It wouldn't play through the screen the first time, and we had to do the microphone. It's got to play through my machine. Yes. I'll just go back to the slides,
Yeah.
see what happens. Yeah. Okay. All right, so everybody knows Amy, everybody. In fact, our next guest toured with Amy, and, you know, in her brief, short years, and I can't believe West Baton Rouge, you know, the museum doesn't, you know, recognize even Britney Spears, that she's not in the Louisiana Hall of Fame, you know, so, I don't know. I didn't realize, and it's my ignorance, how prominent country music was in this area. Very prominent. Albert's the only gospel, and of course the blues guys are all the people up in Lydale and Westover. Okay, let's see if this will work.
Nope.
It's not gonna play, y'all?
You have the speaker on your computer.
That's all the way up. It's all the way up. I hit the arrow and it supposed to play. Linda, I'm sorry. You out. Okay. Miss Linda, could you please come to up here, please? All right.
There we go. Jay.
No, that's not his song. Maybe that's Albert's. That's Albert's instrument. I'm sorry. Okay. Just go ahead and close it, maybe.
You say close this?
Please. All right, and it should play because it. Okay, so I was very, very fortunate that Miss Linda came to the house and spent 5 hours. And
Wonderful album.
we scanned and we talked about all the music, and look, this is the first West Baton Rouge person with Joey that I interviewed, and you know, I just put together the slide. My wife checks the spelling, she went over, and there's some mistakes on the little news article and stuff. Mr. Walter is up there on the left, and that's Norman in the back. Okay, so bass player, and then they all labeled for you. But Miss Linda came to the house, and I was very, very fortunate. There's a lot of people with a lot of music in West Baton Rouge, and that's what I'm looking for, to have a display and exhibit in West Baton Rouge Museum. Miss Linda, you would like to say anything?
I guess just the fact that Joey played a lot here in West Baton Rouge Parish. He did get a band together and he toured with Amy. They went up the East Coast, up in the northern states when she was still alive, and they were still touring when she passed away from the car accident. So yes. So music was his life, you know. He just enjoyed it, and everybody that he played with through the years, and he played any and every kind of music. That was his passion. That he wrote his own songs, did all his lyrics, and then recorded them in 2 different studios.
Okay.
So yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Any questions? All right. Of course, Mike, yesterday, I worked on this yesterday, and the 2 slides coming up, Payas, I have a CD that my dad made, and of course, he's a Port Allen guy. He moved there when he was only 6 weeks old, and the pictures that you see were the ones that Mike David gave me yesterday, and of course these are his grandchildren now that's carrying on the legacy of Ayas's and legacy. All right, the Sugar Patch. All right. Why, you know, the Sugar Patch? The gentleman here that I interviewed is actually born in Clinton, but he lived behind in a trailer and ran the Sugar Patch for 5 years. So that's just some of his memorabilia. He gave me more than a dozen records that he's written and recording on one-way records out of Baton Rouge. So they say Mississippi man, but he's raised on the line in Clinton. All right, Miss Jo. Okay. Another engagement, Mr. Albert is gone. Thank you for coming. Miss Sheriff, keep him pray. Make him remember your anniversary. He doesn't remember. He's a little fuzzy on the anniversary. She's part of the Neal family that we're gonna get to. All right, Miss Joseph, please help me out here. The little cross, the house in Addis, This gentleman, I know only the things from the obituary, sadly. Okay? Benjamin Gatz. If you notice the record, and I can play it, it's a rock and
Somebody
roll
has one,
record.
they'll give you.
Tell me, Mr. Joslin.
His name is, Lulu Frazier, he said he'll give you that record, he has it.
Okay? I have the record, and Travis gave it to me. Okay? But, you, people from Port Allen, do I have the right picture of Avenue C to the right? Because I went to Port Allen and took it, and it's on the corner. Huh? Yeah, Jefferson, Avenue C, that's on the corner. So I'm assuming that's his mom's house, Miss Genevieve, and that's where the business is, that's the business where it's registered. Now, the actual record was recorded in Techno Sound, Nelson Blanchard in Baton Rouge, who's still recording. That's on that label, and then Fort Allen is on the side. And Miss Jocelyn, the little cross, is that his great aunt, the mailing name?
That's the White House in Addis, that was.
Yes, ma'am.
That was his, great grandma's house, and my great
Okay.
grandma too.
So the little
name-
girl
her name is-
passed away at birth.
Alice White. And then, but Ben was from Grand Isle, he was raised in Grand Isle, he had built a big place, and as soon as he built it, it burnt down, but he was in music.
Okay.
If you need more, I can ask his sister whatever you want.
Okay, I'd like to know who played on the record with him. Okay, and that makes, studio musicians and musicians, they never make money. Not all, it's for the love of their music, that's what they do, you know. So Benjamin Gatz was the only Port Allen record I know that it wasn't recorded in West Baton Rouge. There's only one record I know recorded in West Baton Rouge. It's rock and roll. You know, that's the genre, rock and roll. Okay, so the only record that I know positively that was recorded in West Baton Rouge was by this man who lives, W.G. Garrison, and this is a picture of his the group that he recorded, and they're from White Castle. They're in the Iberville Museum, and that record that they recorded, there's only two of them. One of them sitting on the table, and this one that sold for $7,400 in 2010. A man named Ed Johnson from Plaquemine sold it, and the guy came from England to get it.
Wow.
Okay? I can play a little bit of the music. It's Fluorescent Small recorded with Joe Simon, and they became Louisiana Connection, a band, and there's an album with this. Okay, did I miss his house? Okay, I'm sorry, I did miss. I wanted to show you where the record was recorded. Okay, so on Roselle Road, at the light, take a left, and this house is his house between Johnson and Franklin's. And I'm told that every celebrity, Michael Jackson and all the celebrities came to and played at his club, which is now a church. And so the record that I have and purchased is not Fluorescent Small. There's two groups. They met at Southern University, and they played music, and they came to these clubs on 190. This is across from Nick's, across from the carousel of Nick's, right across on 190. So this record, I don't tell my wife what I spent on this. She knows.
You the dog out, boy.
Oh, maybe.
He ain't finished.
Maybe. Okay. All right. Okay. It's in the Mr. Walter, I've been to Pressure on Night, I've seen him pick up a fiddle, a clarinet, a guitar. It didn't matter what instrument. He could play them all. He was a master at the Dixieland Jazz, and he does appear on this album, and I have a little music recorded by him, but on the back of the album, you'll notice that Walter Griffin's name has a little asterisk, and he's responsible for the horns on the Dixieland melody. And of course, maybe you guys can tell me who he recorded with. I don't know.
Do you remember the Evans brothers?
Joe Evans, yes
And
ma'am.
Joe and Junior?
Okay, so Joe is listed up here.
Really?
Junior and Evans recorded me twice.
And so he had his own record label, One Way, in Baton Rouge, and Mr. Walt. I know he played with a lot of people.
Buddy Boudreaux Orchestra, and he played with LSU band
Okay,
for his chair.
I did not know that. I mean, if you have any type of memorabilia that I can add to this collection, anything that, and John already told me he's got tons of stuff with pictures of people.
Paul
Yeah.
Frazier had a lot.
Mr. Paul and Colgate Leslie, they recorded live a lot. Yeah, well, we'll get to the Prejo family. Of course, on the Gold Coast and Lobdell, and this is wrong on Wikipedia, but they had it right on Discogs. And Slim Harpo, Silas Hogan, John was telling me a few minutes ago about playing music with these, they're blues guys, they made their living in Baton Rouge mainly and played some of the clubs here locally. And,
Silas worked at Exxon, and he had a metal hard hat that he would wear to all of his gigs,
Okay,
and that hard hat is in the Smithsonian Institution.
really?
Yes. I
Okay,
play music with his son, Sammy Hogan, every now and then. He's
Okay.
playing with Doug Russo and the Baton Rouge Blues All-Star.
okay. Do y'all know John Daniels?
I've
Married
played with most
Wendy.
of the people in the slides.
He's kind of Persian.
Right.
I married Wendy Moody.
Okay. John had played a lot of music, and with a lot of groups.
Well, talking about the Gold Coast, didn't have one named Sugar Boy would go down?
Sugar Bar Crawford, that's, he,
He was playing the night that they blew up the stage.
no, Joe Hudson was there. Joe Valentine was there when they blew it up. Yeah. Interesting person here, Johnny Coops. Most people are not gonna know him. He was born in Kansas City, Missouri. Mom was from Plaquemine, came back, and his West Baton Rouge connection is he moved there when he was maybe 11 to 12, and he graduated from Port Allen, and he played with a lot of you can see some of the people from Port Allen, the Gyros, and Pat Dwyer, and there's he was one of the ones, you can see him with my dad up to the right in my dad's studio. And like Mr. Huey, Johnny's written well over 500 songs and recorded about 65.
We played music together in a band too, me and Johnny Cook.
Right. Mainly guitarist, vocal, composer, but his big break is when he moved to Nashville, and Ronnie Millsap and a few others started recording some of his music. The blues guys, there's just a gang of them. Steve Martin, I tell you what, and my wife says I'm kind of jinxed, but I talked to Steve 2 weeks before he passed. I talked to Andy Bernard 2 weeks before he passed, and she said, quit calling people. It's sad because, just like Linda, you have all that memorabilia of people playing music. And if you were an athlete, you are always receiving some kind of award. What does a musician receive? So, arts, I'm a coach, I understand, but, you know, I'm a teacher first. So, again, this is the only record that Steve recorded. By the way, Johnny Coombs wrote that record and actually played on it. Five of a kind. You know, Steve had that left brain, or he's very kind of very smart. Journal degree from LSU, and I don't know. He played with a lot of people, and that's just part of them. Look at those names. I mean, that's all kind of names from huh?
I was
Floyd Young, right there in that is, I don't know, Johnny Bear, Galen. I saw him last night. There's Kevin, the Skin Man Band.
I was
and
a keyboard
Travis.
sax player for him.
Okay. Look, there's tons of pictures out there. I mean, I couldn't put, Travis, and, you know, these are all the band, not just some of the bands that Steve played with. Okay, the Neils, I didn't know about Chamberlain. I took some pictures. Let me go back. Oh, Mr. Hugh, I skipped you all again. I'm sorry.
I'm leaving.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, I'm sorry. So the Neils are one of the biggest blues people in the area. There were 10 of them. Pretty much all of them played music. Lil Ray is on the right. He was born in Irvinville. Kenny's on the left, born in Baton Rouge. Jackie was tragically murdered by a lover, and I was fortunate, and this is pretty rare, because on this table back here, this is one of the only 45 that exists of Jackie Neal. Now, she has other records, and Kenny does too. I didn't point this out, but this is Ray Neal. I mean, I do have the records, Joey's records, and Linda was able. So the records are here, and let me hurry and get through this. I won't. Okay, that's in Buddy Stewart's music. He's from Plaquemine. There is a rhythm museum on Acadian in Baton Rouge. It's free. And you just go in at those doors. The ladies will let you go in. And this is the record shop right next to them. Okay, Mr. Prejean. God, you know, there's tons of Prejeans, right?
Yeah.
All of them played music, you know, recorded music. Travis gave me this record, and I've not really had a whole lot, you know, interviewed, or I know there's more memorabilia out there for the Prejeans. Okay? Does anyone want to? I could play his record if you want, but you know, they're on YouTube. Hi, Mr. Huey. Huey in person. You'll have to tell us about the cutoff and growing up down there. Miss Margaret, am I mistaken, but wasn't she St. Delphine, worked with at St. Delphine?
Yes. My
Okay.
sister Margaret right here recorded with me in Crowley, right up here, one record. She went to Bruley School also.
But so you and I went to Addis, last year they had a school in
And
Addis.
me and Joycelyn
We
went
finished
to,
first grade, yeah. And then had a school in Addison.
in the first grade, huh, Joyce? Yeah. Sure did.
Okay, so one of the things that Mr. Huey is very, very proud of is his sons, and they're in the recording studio. John Lewis also his nephew, and this is just a partial discogs of Mr. Huey's accomplishments and recording.
That's how many records we have recorded.
Okay, 20 I had. Look at my numbers all, and I fixed that yesterday, I'm sorry.
We recorded in Nashville also.
Okay,
Jimmy Davis recorded one of my songs, The Governor, which
okay,
I'm mighty proud of.
right.
I'm
Okay.
still playing music.
And he's
And
still, he's
person-
still playing music.
So you retired from West Baton Rouge?
I retired West Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office in 2019.
A lot.
He retired a lot.
Okay.
35
Okay, so there is a small, the West Baton Rouge connection, or the background vocals are the treats. And I found only one person that could tell me that one of the girls retired from Exxon, and they record with a number of artists in Baton Rouge on the WIT label. All right, Mr. Rodney, Addis, he owned the old, what is it, Louis Fragile place over there, and recorded some. This is the only CD that I have that has a Addis address on it, so CD. Last Blues Guy and Mr. Emmett Word. We reached the end, but I have one more song. Okay, so Billy was the one that said, hey, you know, I have the record, and I looked on YouTube, and another country singer sang with his sister, I believe. She still lives on Bird Height.
His sister and his wife.
Okay.
Was he the chief of police?
Yeah, she was chief of police here. Okay? Last, I'm gonna end up the presentation like this. Here we go. And I hope it plays.
And now this one I painted. I thought you'd like it. Is your cat getting too cool?
Stop the cat.
Show him new temptations at her home.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Okay, so that's the purpose of music right there, to take you in your place where you can enjoy, smile, and Louisiana is a place where people dance, eat, and have a real good time. Any questions or comments, or please, if you have, Mr. Daniels is going to provide me with a lot of other pictures, and West Baton Rouge, you know, please contact me. Let me turn it off. Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
The guy paid $7,000 for that record?
Okay, so when I'm looking on Discog, and that's a site, and I see what records are selling for, most people are pirating the labels. Let me give you an example. This record is the exact same record with SS on it, and it sells for half of that. You know, it might sell for $100, but they'll pirate it and put it out, and it's called reissue. And you'll know that a record is reissued because it has a barcode. So if you're collecting records and you want to see, you know, on the records and on the albums, if it has a barcode, it's reissued. It's not original. So don't buy that. You know. And I've become. I can look at a record and I can decipher the information on it, or there's a little part in the dead wax. There's a little inscription in here on the dead wax, and that's where you tell where it's pressed, when it was pressed, and who pressed it. Meaning, Mr. Huey and them go to a studio, they get a master tape, and they can take that master tape and they can put whatever pressing, whatever label they want on it. But it sold for that, Billy, because there was a demand for it.
That one right there?
No, ma'am.